Okay, I've come to the realization that the majority of people have no idea what's going on in the housing market. That's everyday retail buyers, people who think they know what they're doing, investors, and even a lot of real estate agents. So, welcome to Housing Bubble 2.0 News of the Week, or as I like to call it, another episode of As the Housing Market Churns, or Turns, or Burns, or who knows what it's going to do, but changes are coming. It's already happening right now. Randy Patrick here, putting the realism back in real estate. Today is what? Looks like, oh my goodness, September the 14th. It's been a while since I have actually done a video for various reasons, so I do apologize for people who I need to contact, for people who are in my program, etc. Had a couple of closings, transactions I had to work on over the past couple of weeks that needed, I guess you could say, manual labor, for lack of better words. And I did a lot of that and ended up coming out on the wrong side of that on a physical note, but things are done and cleaned up, which is great. Sometimes this is what you have to do to get deals done. The property had code violations that we had to cure and, I guess you could say, get approved by the code enforcement officer before they released it so it could close. So a lot of work that goes on in some of these deals, but in the end it's done. I'm happy. Paid the price physically and mentally too, but we shall move on to bigger and better things. All right. So here's the deal here. The market's changing, and if you haven't seen what's going on in your neck of the woods, I implore you to go to gethousingdata.com. That's gethousingdata.com, and check out what's happening with distressed properties in your own neighborhood. The reason being, I have a partnership with Foreclosure.com, and they're the number one provider in the nation of distressed property listings. Distressed properties, where the discounts are, where the deals are. You're not going to find them on the retail market at this point in time. You got to go to the off-market distress side to find stuff and see what's happening in your local market. So there you go. All right, building a new studio here as well too. Got a lot of things happening, so we'll see some transition on my videos next little while. Trying to make some improvements. Spent the other day talking to my real estate attorney who works on the short sale stuff with me, and we got a lot of plans and strategies and how we're going to approach the market, and how we're handling the market. A lot of great ideas they're implementing, and we're also going to start doing some live events, and those events will be local in my Tampa Bay area MSA. Could be more locations in Florida, but we're also going to do some virtual events as well too, where we can have whatever 100 people, 200 people online watching us train. So that's what we're working on right now. So looking forward to deploying and implementing that as time goes on. But today I want to talk about the housing crash, because you know what? It's already begun. And why I thought it was important to talk about that today, because I actually attended an event I'm somewhat involved with yesterday. And it was about, again, I don't know this person very well, and they're obviously a very accomplished, we'll call it real estate agent. But, the commentary was, didn't know really anything about the housing bubble or what's going to happen in our area, just that people keep buying homes and prices keep going up. And, as far as they were concerned, it was highly unlikely there'd be any negativity. Why? Because people keep buying homes and prices keep going up. So we have all this equity, right? So it's just so funny. So for me, I'm kind of going, yet another person who really doesn't understand. Even though they're making a ton of money being a real estate agent, they don't really understand what's happening in the marketplace here. Which, for better or for worse, it's your own business, your own income, your own deals, whatever. I mean, I'm not criticizing anybody, but the point is that I was amazed at how certain segments of the population just don't really see what's happening, or don't want to see what's happening. And the reason why I'm saying is that the signs are already here. We've talked about this for a couple of years, and it's actually happening right now. And the fun part about it is that, the market actually starts to crash in subtle ways before it becomes obvious to the general public or retail buyers or to the masses. And then when it happens, it's kind of like it's too late, like it's already sliding, and you're sort of trying to scramble to get in, and then things are going to change afterwards. So really, the whole idea is to catch this at the right time and to see it happening and grab the deals, on the way down, on the way back up again. So it's just a matter of positioning, but being aware of what's happening. So why I think this is kind of humorous is because to me, right now, this reminds me of what was happening back in the day with the Fed. And when I'm saying back in the day, we're talking, just before the previous housing crisis. We're talking in 2005, 2006 timeframe, when you had guys like Alan Greenspan and Ben Bernanke at the Fed, and they were giving lots of interviews across the board to CNBC, CNN, whatever, and they were being asked point blank about a potential recession, about the economy, about the housing bubble, and they were really, denying the existence of one or downplaying the we could say economic impact it would have on our economy, and they wouldn't even agree there was even a housing bubble. So this is what I'm going to talk about this, but this is exactly what they're kind of saying here. So this was Bernanke, and when he was interviewed, it was like, okay, well, yes, housing prices are up. He gets that, but the fundamentals are very strong in the marketplace. We have a growing economy. We have jobs. We have good income. We have very low mortgage rates. The demographic supports housing growth. We have a restricted supply. It's supported by the strength of the economy. So that's what he was saying back in 2005 and 6. So where are we today in 2021? Well, housing prices are up. Well, we know they're up. They're over 40% above where they were at the previous peak in the housing previous bubble at 2006 timeframes, right? 40% greater than it was then. Fundamentals are strong. So I guess it's stocks and things like that, what's happening in the economy. It's growing. So, that's, from what we see with crypto and all these other things here, there's online presence. People are consuming, people are buying stuff. So stuff's happening in the economy. Our economy is booming. Jobs. Well, we know that there's more jobs available and high-paying jobs than people there to fill them. So you should have your choice of jobs, and you should do very well if you're in the workforce, right? Very low mortgage rates. Well, that was mortgage rates low back then. Now, where are we at? We're at record low mortgage rates. Most of the stuff in the past couple years have been sub 3.0 rates here. So it's been very effective to buy a house and get pre-approved and actually be able to purchase a much larger, much more expensive home. Demographics support housing growth. Well, the demographic basically is, more people, there's more households that are formed. Millennials are looking to buy. People want houses. It's simple as that. Plus, the investor community is searching for houses as well, too, on a high level. So we have that restricted supply, which therefore, guess what? Pushes prices up, but it's supported by the strength of the economy. So as long as all these things are churning, then everything should be okay. So there shouldn't be any worry. And that's what they were talking about back in 2005 and 6, which I thought was very funny. So, but the one thing that I took away from, and if you start Googling or going on YouTube and look at some of these videos, you'll see some of these interviews. And I use the word froth because that was the fun part at the time. They were talking about froth. Yeah, they're frothy markets. So again, back in the day, he also mentioned that we've never had a decline in housing prices. It's pretty unlikely we'd see one. Housing prices may slow or stabilize. There's froth, and that's why they were talking about froth. So yeah, there's some markets are a little frothy. There's froth in certain areas. That's because of speculation. All right, speculation being what? Investors turning over condos quickly. That was speculation back in the day. It's a localized problem. Doesn't affect anything on the national economy or national housing market here. So that's what we were talking about back in the day. And if you take a look at all that, it sounds really familiar right now, doesn't it? And as far as I'm concerned, if anybody watches my videos, you know what I'm like, is I don't believe anything anybody says anymore. I want to see proof positive. The truth is in the numbers. It will play out. We know the narratives that's been going on with housing this year, among other things in the world with narratives. So it's tough to kind of filter out all the interference and noise that you hear, but we really are on the cusp of the housing crash now. Now, how it crashes and how it sort of, I guess you could say plays out is still kind of up in the air. But this is what we typically see, is we see the denial aspect or the reasons why we won't have one. And look, I can look on YouTube too. As I always mention, I don't watch the other people's videos because I do not want to be influenced by what they're saying, but I do see the thumbnail, so I can see what they're talking about. And really, prior it was, housing, boom, 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 there's no bubble. Guys like me were doom and gloom, we're housing bubble bros or forbearance boys, whatever they want to call us, which is fine. And now we're starting to see some of the thumbnails going, well, maybe we're going to have a housing bubble. Maybe things are changing, because they are changing, right? Summer selling season's over now. Labor Day's passed. People are back and done transactions, back in school. Stuff's happening, right? So I want to focus on what's going on here and what to look forward to and how to look at it in the next little while. So just bear with me here. But the fun part about it is that when I talk about just like back in the day, that's a similarity. So what we're hearing, or what we heard from the Fed, is kind of like what we're hearing from the mainstream media right now. So nothing has changed after all this time. So there's no surprise, all right? And again, as I said, the rest is history. We know what happened. These frothy markets became very frothy, and stuff happened. And there's a big change. Now, as I said, there'll be more headwinds and more people involved and more people trying to control the market than back in the day. We have much better access to data and information. So that's why we kind of see this coming, right? So that's why we should be aware and we should be able to participate or put ourselves in the right position to benefit from what's going to happen in the future. That's what it's all about here. So this is interesting because, obviously as of July 31st, what happened? The foreclosure moratorium was officially over here. So August 2021, guess what happened? So July ends, so in August 2021, U.S. foreclosure activity rises following the end of the foreclosure moratorium. So yeah, guess what? Things are going to pick up, and that's part of the process of what's going to happen as time goes on here. So, for example, here, Illinois, Nevada, and New Jersey had the highest foreclosure rates. So basically, we're looking at state-wise, you got, as I said, Illinois, Nevada, New Jersey, Delaware, and Ohio were the ones, the highest foreclosure rates, which is really a per capita thing. One foreclosure per how many households. So and again, those are your typical states that lead the way. Metropolitan areas that have at least 200,000 people. You basically had Bakersfield, California up there, Atlantic City, New Jersey, Cleveland, Ohio, Rockford, Illinois, and Las Vegas. So Las Vegas is popping up now. I see that in the data as well, too. So nothing should surprise us here, and it doesn't. And metros with greater than 1 million, well, what do we see? Cleveland, Las Vegas, Chicago, Riverside, California, Birmingham, Alabama. So again, stuff that happened in the last housing crisis and locations are starting to manifest and play out once again. So now we're 1 month into the not having the foreclosure moratorium. So clearly we're going to see uptick in filings as time goes on. It will increase and get more and more kind of frenzied. Foreclosure starts increase 27% from last month. So there really shouldn't be any surprise here. As they say, while foreclosure starts increase significantly compared to last month and last year, it's very important to keep these numbers into context. Yes, artificially low to the government's moratorium. Basically, by August 2019, we had normal foreclosure activity. And we're going to get back to that as time goes on, as things opened up. All right. So the greatest states that had the greatest number of foreclosure starts were California, Texas, Florida, Illinois, and New York. That's just on a per count basis. So of course, clearly, what are those states? Most populated states in America, right? So that, and the bigger metros, but also that's where the problems are going to be. Again, we look at New York had a lot of starts, Chicago, Illinois, LA, Houston, Dallas, Fort Worth, as far as metros are concerned. So nothing surprising here, nothing to get alarmed about, but just if you're looking for property, you're looking to invest, you're looking to get involved with this, it's almost like our same old friends and locations is starting to play out, which is interesting. Foreclosure completion numbers increase across the board. What that really is, stuff that's being foreclosed on and going back to the lender as REO, which is real estate owned or bank owned property. So what do we see here? It's up 22% from last month and 22% from last year. So that's obviously going to grow, but realize that completions will increase as more properties actually hit the auction block, which is starting now. All right. So I know in my neck of the woods, other parts of Florida, I see the foreclosure auctions being set are increasing now and starting to pick up. States that had at least 100 REOs in August were what? New York, Michigan, Illinois, Florida, and Texas. Metros were Chicago, New York City, Detroit, Baltimore, and Tampa, where I am. So again, no surprises here, but just the whole point is now we're starting to see activity. People will start to talk about this activity, so it shouldn't come as any surprise. Now, so what Adam always puts out once they do their monthly foreclosure report, they talk about the zip codes that have highest zombie foreclosure rates. Now, what they're going to note here is the fact that the zombie foreclosures, and per definition, a zombie foreclosure really is a foreclosure that's happened on a vacant or distressed property. So the homeowner has left, they've taken off, it's sitting there doing nothing. Let's foreclose on it so it can be sold to a third party bidder at the auction or brought back to the lender where someone can eventually buy it, fix up, and make it into a livable asset for somebody. Well, it's almost like this plays out exactly like last time around too. So the zip codes that have a big increase, we're looking at in Cleveland, Watertown, New York, Maple Heights, Ohio, Cleveland, Chicago Heights, Illinois, Endicott, New York, and Chicago, Illinois. So really, it's the the vacant. Obviously, it's the sort of orangey is the Q3 2021 total pre-foreclosure property, and Q3 is a pre-foreclosure vacant property. So you can see that there is locations where we're seeing the numbers increase as far as the pre-foreclosure property, and then the zombie ones as well too. So Cleveland for whatever reason, has a number of those zip codes, and obviously different parts of Illinois and New York as well too. So a lot of the stuff is repetitive, but again, we're going to start to see more of this. So what do people do? We call it driving for dollars. We drive around neighborhoods. You look at homes, you identify them as, well, this one looks kind of vacant or kind of roughed up or not in good shape. Take the address, take a picture, go back home, look on the property appraiser site, see whether it's still owned by the homeowner. Is there a different mailing address? Have they bugged out? Or is it an investment home or second home? Or has it been taken back by the lender? So that's the basics. And then you start to find and get a hold of the sellers and see if you can make some deals. So that's what we typically do. I'll be doing that in a couple of days, building my new list, and I'll be out in the field. That's what I've been doing a lot lately. So just keep that in mind. Also, if you're not already subscribed to my channel, if you could please do me the honor and favor and smash that subscribe button and help my channel grow, I'd really appreciate that. Thank you very much. And if you think you're a subscriber or are a subscriber, could you please verify? Because I always mention YouTube has a funny way of losing my subscribers, and I seem to be putting on the same amount as I'm losing. So please verify your subscription, smash that button. Thank you very much. Okay, as we go forward here, so more discussion, more realization that the market's changing. I think that's where we're at now. So I'm about signs, you know that. I like all the little, one thing is not going to change the housing market, but it's a multiple of things all coming together at the same time that'll have the impetus to push it over the edge. So really we see here from Market Watch, a lot of buyers have had enough. Bidding wars for homes fall to the lowest level since 2020. So Redfin did an analysis and they found that, month over month, we've seen bidding wars reduce. So therefore, properties are on the market longer. Less people are bidding and competing for these properties, which sort of goes to show that what? Well, it shows that people are tired of this, right? Sellers are still pricing their homes very high, but a lot of buyers have had enough and are no longer willing to pay the huge premiums they were 6 months ago. And that's a key factor here. So we've talked about buyer fatigue. We've talked about the fact that, home buyer sentiment for the past few months has been exceptionally low. As a matter of fact, it's been the lowest it's been in a long time, I think the lowest on record, because even with low mortgage rates, people are tired of the stress, the competition, the bidding wars, and the fact of the matter that I think everybody out there really kind of knows or feels that we are at the peak, or we've peaked, and things are going to change now. And the fact, are you going to pay this is a premium and compete and drive that price point up for somebody else's benefit, and now you're stuck with this house? So I think people now are really starting to use caution and going, where's the market going, and where how's it going to change, and will I get caught? I don't want to get caught buying at the peak and then having the next 4 or 5 years watching it slide down and having to recover again. Not interesting. So buyers are concerned now. A lot of people I talk to are kind of like, we're holding on, we're waiting, even though we need to move, and all these issues with doing your new lease, and lease prices are going up, and I get all that, but people are still kind of going, I don't want to pull the trigger until I see what's going to happen because stuff's changing. Well, what's changing? Well, guess what? As I mentioned, the foreclosure moratorium is officially over. Okay, the CDC's rental eviction moratorium. Okay, that's it's in play or not in play, but most of the states don't even abide by it anymore. It's being challenged in court openly. Some states still have a rental tenant, eviction moratorium going on. Other states don't. So we're going to see how that kind of plays out. But the number one issue, which might be another video I'll do, is the fact that about 10% of all that $47 billion of rental assistance has been distributed. So most of the mom and pop small landlords don't have access to the money, and they're getting killed out there with respect to potentially losing their homes. That's what's going to play out in the next little while. And also forbearance. If we talk about the numbers that are really we're bantered about in mainstream media, it's that 1.8 million forbearance number that's quoted by Black Knight Financial, which really is an underestimate, and it's based on analysis and extrapolations from samples, et cetera, et cetera. So the number is probably less than what it really is. But the whole point is that starting in August, we start to see some of these forbearance people kind of fall out, and we're going to see a lot more of that as the month goes on. As a matter of fact, we're going to see a lot of it in this month here. Now, here's just a quick headline. Sellers who were hoping for top dollar are suddenly more realistic and more motivated, which means if you're more realistic, you're dropping your price. If you're motivated, you're dropping your price. There's deals to be had. So now this is kind of like the cusp of where we're going to see some changes. And going to the forbearance comment I just made, well, guess what? Forbearances fall as 400,000 plans near exit. So this month, so August, there was approximately, or an estimate of 100,000 plus people exiting the forbearance program, all right, various programs. Now, in September, the estimate was 451,000 people exiting forbearance plans. So from August until the end of the year, end of 2021, the estimate from Black Knight Financial is 1.2 million. So this is a big number here. These are people that are in forbearance. They've been in the forbearance programs. Their forbearance programs are expiring. There's no more extensions or opportunities. It's now time to face the music here and what's going to happen. Can you go into a loan modification? Don't know. Are you going to go through that process of a loan modification? It's not as simple as clicking a button or going through a phone menu and pressing 1 for yes, all right? Loan modifications are an analysis. You have to provide documentation and income and expenses and the whole bit and prove your insolvency or your financial issues, and they have to review it. So a lot of iterations here. Don't know if they can handle all that. But people are going to fall into the foreclosure bucket. So this is just the start of all these things right now. And again, but that's why people but the lay people or the ones that aren't really looking at the numbers are going, well, all this equity, you're just going to sell. Okay, well, if you sell, where are you going to go, right? And did you have this equity? If I've been in a forbearance program for 18 months, I've been chipping away at my equity. And if me and 10 other people in the neighborhood suddenly put our homes in the market because we're out of forbearance, now there's competition on sellers, and now price points will drive down. And buyers will now pick and choose, and they'll negotiate and drive price points down. So all this newfound equity that I thought I had, I'm going to lose. And there's closing costs and commissions and all those type of things. So when you actually start looking at the realism of real estate, how transactions happen, the equity is going to get eaten up here. So things are not as rosy as they may appear to be. Granted, in certain locations across the country, there are people with enormous equity. And I'm not going to dispute that because that has happened. But same thing, though, once you cash out, where are you going to go? You're going to buy, you're going to rent. It's still a myriad of problems. But the whole point is that, this equity, all this equity is not going to save the market. It's going to change because things will change as it plays out. So keep that in mind. As I said, the shift has started, all right? It started July 31st, and we're seeing the signs of it now. It's happening. So, I'm obviously in tune to this. I look at it. I see what's going on at a macro level and obviously at a micro level. It just depends on how it's implemented. It also depends on how the information permeates to the rest of the people, in various large cities and across the board here. So it all depends on what you're looking, what you listen to, or etc. So everyone's talking about this now. Why do I say that? Because large investors are ready and wanting to pounce. Other investors are inquiring and positioning their opportunities well too. Primary home buyers are going, I want to buy now. I'm ready for this. I'm ready for us. Other real estate agents need info. I've got a lot of inquiries, people saying, I want to be involved in this. I've never done short sale, never been involved in distressed property. What do I do? Well, I can certainly help you with that. Okay. The info market is heating up with respect to investment courses now. So when things are going up, everyone talks about fix and flip and cash flow and buying and selling. So that's the positive side because you're running the appreciation wave. Well, when it plateaus and goes the other way, then guess what? That's another shift on coaching, products and services, ideas, the whole bit. And now it's like we've got to catch it on the way down. And how do we create equity with the market that's falling? That's with short sales and pre-foreclosure sales, you see. So everything has a place. It just works in cycles here, right? Just like the previous housing crisis. I can almost like the first part of the video with respect to what the Fed was saying back in 2005 and 6. It's exactly what happened, but 2005, 6, and 7, and we're seeing the start of the play out right now. Could this be the last time we see this? I think this could be the last time we'll see it come out this way. I believe there'll be other things in play for future cycles that won't give us as much flexibility. So really the time is now to do this and get on and figure this stuff out if you really want to participate. Get your home cheaper or invest. Here's an example, right? There was a tsunami of evictions and foreclosures on its way to your county. Hot markets won't last forever. Protect yourself with your real estate business. So this is what happens, okay? People are talking about this. There's videos out there the whole bit, and obviously they want you to engage, of course, which is fine. But the point is that I'm not the only person. This is going on at a much broader and macro level than people, I think, really realize here. I mentioned this in my last video. So, this is a course or a certification you can take as a real estate agent. And I'll be very frank with you. The fact of the matter is, when this came out, we had already done, 100, 200 short sales back in the day. And, we meet with a homeowner, and some, vanilla real estate agent spent $900 to take a 2-day course online or maybe attended, a live seminar, and they became a certified distressed property expert. And they were now going and talking to homeowners saying how they were going to help them solve their problems. but they got this designation but never had done a short sale before. I had to laugh at that because we had a ton of them done, obviously, and we know how to navigate and help homeowners in the whole bit. But the point, though, is that this has been quiet since the last housing crisis, and now you can, if you were one before, for a mere $150, you can recertify yourself again, or you can take the course. So it's not just investors or guys like me that are talking about the housing bubble and the housing crash. Now we have people who are supporting the real estate market, etc. So this is the whole thing. There comes a point in time when realization has to be: there's so many people talking about it. Are we all wrong, or is somebody else right, and we're just not seeing the forest, the trees, essentially? So stuff is changing. People are preparing for this on different levels. So I suggest you do too. I'm not going to go through every slide here, but obviously this was just a quick snapshot of some Florida MSAs and the equity difference between retail median sales prices for single-family homes versus short sale median prices on single-family homes. And you can see that $59,000, $75K, $84K, $100K, $151K, and there's Jacksonville, $178K in the Sarasota area, and $248K in the Miami, Fort Lauderdale, West Palm. That's a massive location, but that's a lot of homes, a lot of people there. But the point is, there's such differences there, and that's where I talk to people going, if you want to get involved with this and figure out how you can get your hands on it, inquire, and we'll talk, and I'll see if I've got something for you here. Realize that I'm not out hunting for properties to give to people on silver platters. That's not what I do. I have clients I do that for that pay for that, of course. But the point is, I think people out there need to take a greater interest in seeing what's happening with this market and understand it better, because your average vanilla real estate agent is not going to be able to deliver these to you. Okay, and everyone's thinking, hey, we're going to see 50% discounts. We're not going to see that. Oh, I'll wait till all these short sales come on board. We're not going to see that. It's a different type of market now. There's much more interference going on. A lot more people who don't want this to happen. It's still going to be there. We just have to go about it and get at it a different way. That's my whole point in all this. So we're not going to see massive housing decreases and whatever, but we're still going to see great deals and discounts if you know where to look and how to get at them, right? Sure, some markets will have better than others. So it's going to be, it'll be frothy in some markets and not frothy in others, according to the words of Ben Bernanke. Anyway, point being, you got to learn and you got to know and you got to be ready to understand. So I always tell people, hey, you want to know how to acquire a property that's between $59,000 and $248,000 under fair market value. If you want to know, drop me a line. I can show you how to do that. By the way, I said the shift has started July 31st, so it's only going to get more interesting, and it's going to build momentum as these forbearances and foreclosures all start to come to fruition. We've been waiting very patiently. Now it's going to start to happen. So hang in there, everybody. All right. If you want to know how to engage, just reach out to me. There's my email. Reach out to me. Please give me your phone number, and we'll connect. Now, I know I owe a lot of people a lot of calls on various levels. I'm going to get to it the next couple of days. I said I was sort of busy, really busy, and kind of out of commission for a little bit with the aftermath of that. But reach out to me, and let's get back on it, because now's the time. So no hesitation. Let's do it. So thank you once again, everybody, for the views, likes, comments. Please share the video with your family and friends. If you're not a subscriber, please smash the subscribe button to help my channel grow. And we look forward to getting back on track here with some regular videos and talking about a lot of cool things. So again, reach out, and we'll look forward to speaking with you shortly. Take care.